Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Developer Waypoints. We are coming at you pretty hot right now. We got three of us here in the studio, technically. We got two in the studio. Dylan, welcome back to the show. Dylan's actually right next to me. Dylan, how you doing today? How you feeling?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me back on the show. Took a little bit of convincing, but I'm here to have fun and teach you guys
Dylan?
some React. What do you say?
Our names are actually switched. Hold on, let me fix that real quick.
All right, you can call me Peter today then.
Yeah, okay. So Peter.
Hi, Dylan.
There we go. So Dylan's right.
So who am I now?
And Nick is also still in the stream in the classic Developer Waypoints fashion. Nick, how you doing?
I'm doing good over here.
What's your role? Tell us what you do.
My role is lead developer evangelist on developer relations.
Cool. Dylan, what's your role? What are you saying?
I do the same thing, evangelism for developer relations.
I thought you were like a nuclear reactor or something like that.
Well, it depends on the show, my different nickname. Last time I was the command line connoisseur. Today I'm the React revolutionary. Something like that.
I thought your nickname was Big D today.
I don't know what you're talking about. That's inappropriate.
That's not what it was.
Yeah.
Mally Luck says, hi, guys. Welcome, everybody. Thank you. I'm sorry for messing around. We just had quite a scenario getting this all set up today. But this is Developer Waypoints. It's a live coding series where we progressively build something over a season of episodes. And right now we're in the middle of our framework season. We finished up, Nick and I finished up Angular, the last two episodes. And this episode, this is part one of React, right? So welcome to React. Digitalized Chloe. Oh, a threesome today. Yeah, it's three of us. Where's the here background, Michael? I don't know. This is brand approved gray. Lalahan's back. Look at that VIP badge. Okay, so Nick, Dylan, what are we gonna do on this episode today? What's happening with React?
I'll let Dylan steal it from this.
Dylan, take it away.
Actually, no, I heard Nick wanted to talk about this, so I'll let my co-host Nick talk about what we're doing today. I'll talk about it.
Yeah, so last time we finished up Angular. Now we've got two episodes on React. So the focus of this episode is we're going to kind of integrate it into a project with here. So I think Dylan is going to be talking about building reusable components. He's going to throw in some Leaflet.js, which was a focus of the first season. A bunch of other shenanigans are going to happen. All kinds of good stuff. Right,
just
Dylan?
Good stuff all around, man, right?
Yeah.
Are you excited to get started?
I'm excited to get started. Go for it.
I am too. All
awesome.
right.
Peter, you want to show his screen?
Yeah. Let's do it. Let's start reacting, everybody. Okay, let's here we go. Here's the real transition test. There it is. Hey, we're in circles.
All right, everyone can see my screen.
And I'll be moderating the chat as well. So if you have any questions, please ask them, and I'll bring them up.
Yeah. Also, as a side note, I am also in chat. I have the role of here dev. So anybody, if you see me talking, here dev talking, what's your username, Nick and Raboy?
I think that one was taken. I think I'm just Nic Raboy.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah.
And a
wow, what a shame.
I know.
If you say
no
something
controversy
in chat,
for this one.
If you say something in chat, then people can actually ping it. You can at him and
there you go.
To him.
Yeah, and I guess another side note, I am not in the chat, so I'll have to rely on Peter and Raboy to let me know what's going on in there.
Yeah, well, you focus on the code, Dylan.
Yeah, I think I'll do that. That's a good idea.
Also, just this is a little touchy system, so if you hear any crazy audio quirks, let us know and I'll try to fix it. But from there, Dylan, your screen is shared. I hope you have nothing inappropriate on there. Looks good.
Oh crap! Let me. Just kidding. All right, so we are on our Here developer portal. So as you have probably seen, this is where you get all the documentation and sign up for API keys and such. All right here. So as Nick mentioned, today we'll be talking about using React with here maps. So if you've been on this developer portal, you've seen that we actually do have a JavaScript API. If you click in here. This is a great tool for vanilla JS, but sometimes it is a little bit difficult to get it working with some React bindings. So we're going to be going a slight alternative route today, and we'll be using Leaflet. So I'm sure many of you all have heard of Leaflet because we actually have done a Leaflet episode in last season. Leaflet is an open source web render that's pretty customizable. So you're easily able to put in here map tiles and here services into it. So you're still using all the same here services as you would with the JavaScript API, but you're just technically using a different API to interact with all the tiles and such. So we'll be using Leaflet, initializing it, and then adding the here map tiles into it as well. But we won't be using this exact version of Leaflet.js. This is as well for vanilla JavaScript. So we'll be using a abstraction of Leaflet called react.js. So my colleague Peter is going to paste the link to this right now.
Ooh, okay.
But if
Just
you
to
cannot
the
see the
actual
screen,
link?
Yeah, so it's going to be react-leaflet.js.org.
I'm just a colleague to you, Dylan?
Sorry, when I said colleague, I meant best friend.
Okay, good.
And mentor.
And Leaflet mentor.
So everything I've learned in my life, Peter has taught it to me. So I think we should take a couple of minutes to actually go ahead and thank him for all this. Nick, would you like to start? Just kidding.
I don't know about that.
You're welcome, everybody, just ahead of time.
Yeah, so React Leaflet's nice because you could actually use all the React bindings for Leaflet here. So as you can see, right here that I'm highlighting, we're actually writing some JSX, and we don't need to do any strange kind of hackish ways of integrating the here maps JavaScript into React. So this will be pretty straightforward, and let's go ahead and dive in. So the first thing we want to do is click the Getting Started button. Fairly intuitive, I would say. To get started, you want to click that button. I usually don't do sarcasm, but I think today I'll try it out a little bit.
Sure.
Are you implying you're usually a robot, or?
I don't know what I'm implying here. Let's just keep going with the show. So this has all the information on how to get started. But actually, the first thing we'll want to do is actually create a React project. So I'm going to go into my command line, and I'll want to go to the directory of choice where I want to make my project. I like to do my desktop because it's pretty easy to access your desktop. So to create a React project, we'll be using create React app, which I'm sure many of you React users have actually used before. So to do so, we'll be doing npx create-react-app. And then we'll also want to name the folder that we'll be creating. So I'll be doing here-react as my folder name. So this npx command is pretty neat. It is actually kind of a small variant of npm. But what it does is it actually installs the package, executes the script, but then deletes all the installation files. So when I run this command, all it will do is just generate this boilerplate code for me in React for a simple React project, which is pretty nice because then you don't have to deal with all the extra installation files and getting rid of them at the end.
So I'm new to NPX. Can you actually download that through NPM?
If you have NPM installed, it's going to work for you right out of the box. So you don't have to download anything.
So it's not like you have to use like Brew or Chocolatey or anything like that?
Well, you have to do that to get Node or NPM, but I'm
right.
sure anyone that's done the most basic JavaScript development has probably already have NPM installed. So probably don't need to worry about that.
Sure.
And then what you want to do is actually cd into your project. So I'm going to do cd here React, and you could do yarn start or npm start. It doesn't really matter. Nick, npm or yarn?
Let's go with NPM. I haven't used Yarn in quite some time.
Nice.
So just in case somebody watching doesn't know what you guys are talking about,
These are both package managers for JavaScript.
Oh, okay.
NPM also has a registry online where you can download the packages from, but then you could also install the packages in the command line by you doing something like npm install or yarn start. They're pretty much the same thing, but I believe Yarn was maybe rebuilt by Facebook to match some of their specific needs that NPM couldn't handle. I don't know, Nick, do you know any of the history about that?
Vaguely, I think it had something to do with maybe package locking or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know all the details.
But for the everyday basic use, just like installing and starting things, I think they'll both work fine, especially for this situation.
Okay, Pond says, what's the difference between NPX and NPM again?
NPM will install the packages and it will keep the installation files for you. So you'll have everything in the node_modules folder. but npx will actually just install the files and execute the script automatically, and then remove all the files. So npx is great for creating some boilerplate, basically generators. So if you want to automatically create some folders, npm will download the scripts to run those scripts, and then delete the scripts. Does that make sense? Nick, how's that explanation?
Perfect sense. That works out for me. I love it.
Perfect.
Palermo for Twitch says, my wife just started using Yarn.
What's your opinion on Yarn?
Get her in here. Have her explain herself.
Yeah. I mean, I bet some people love this this debate, so I'm sure we'll have some people interested if we keep talking about it. But so I did a npm start, and that basically fired up localhost 3000, and I have the classic React just empty page. They did a really nice job with this animating
it's a little
kind of Jimmy Neutron thing. What's that called again?
an atom.
Yeah, an atom. That's the word.
A Jimmy Neutron thing.
I don't know. So
What
not to
generation are
get
you
too off
from?
topic, but Nick. So Nick, I got a question for you. Do you think this is a GIF, or do you think they're doing some sort of CSS transform and animation where they're rotating it?
Well, if it were me, I would be using a GIF because I'm lazy and not competent at CSS. But I think that this is probably some CSS.
But think about the pros of CSS here. All you have to do is just create one image, then rotate it. How would you create a rotating GIF yourself? That seems so much more work.
Yeah, Photoshop.
How would you create a rotating GIF in Photoshop?
It
makes it
video frames to layers.
It's not that difficult.
Yeah, but you probably have to manually rotate it, save the file, and then do that 100 times.
Okay, to open up After Effects.
All right.
Put an image in there. Do a rotate over time.
Come on, guys. Is this an After Effects stream, or is this a React stream? As I tell it to myself. All right, so then I'm going to...
Jithan liked your Jimmy Neutron reference.
Thank you. All right, so I have it opened up in Visual Studio Code, and some of you might be confused because I actually have the Atom color scheme inside of Visual Studio Code. And when I say Atom, I'm not talking about the actual scientific atom. I'm talking about the Atom code editor. That's because, I had a hard time switching over to VS Code, mostly because I just love this theme so much in Atom. But then I realized you could just put the Atom theme in VS Code, and everything got so much more simple. And now you have the great features of VS Code with the great Atom color scheme.
Are you still going light mode? You're not a dark mode guy?
I'll do dark mode at night, so contrast
okay.
matches. But honestly, during the day, I think light mode works better because then you don't have to have your brightness turned up to 100% to actually see anything.
Well, remember, we also got some feedback on one of the last episodes that people didn't like that I was switching between a dark theme editor and a light website. Wasn't that a thing, Peter?
It was. I think it's good. It's good. I think.
Wow. Well, audience, later today you'll actually have the choice to choose between a dark map and a light map. So we'll definitely probably set up some interactive poll. I don't know, Peter, can we do that in the Twitch audience thing?
I can try to make it work if we really need to.
Yeah, I think that's pretty important for us to do. So
I think it's a Nightbot command. Let me look it up.
What exactly were we doing again in this stream? Just kidding. Okay, so I prefer the class syntax over this function stuff, so I'm just going to change it for a second. I know they updated this create React app thing to support the React hooks a couple months ago, but I still have yet to actually convert, so I'm just going to transform my code to the former syntax, which I hope everybody will be okay with. So another debate that we could actually do if people are interested. React hooks versus non-hooks. I don't know, does anyone know about those?
I am very not proficient at all with React, so I wouldn't know the difference.
No worries. All right, so back to actually the leaflet stuff. So I'm going to go back to my command line, and I'm going to be in the same directory as before, here-react. So this is the program that I made, and I'm going to want to install a few things. So npm install has this fancy new shorthand with I, so we're going to be trendy, keep up with all the new things, and do npm I. And we're going to want to be installing the leaflet and react-leaflet. So react-leaflet was the website we had up right here, basically the React bindings for leaflet. And then you also need to install leaflet because it has that as a dependency.
And just to confirm, we're using npm now because npx was just for generators, right?
Correct. So npm is just for installing normal packages.
Got it.
And the I stands for install. It's just a short little shorthand for it. All right, so we'll give this a minute or two. Nick, don't you usually like to talk about something when we're installing stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't you like to talk about how you love PHP here?
Oh yeah. I don't know if I'd go that far.
Yeah, man, I think there's a lot of hate for PHP, but it's great for getting a super simple backend up.
You don't want me to start throwing some shade.
Why not?
I don't know.
Hey, I'll speak up for PHP. I like PHP.
Oh yeah? What do you like about it?
The few things I've ever
Yeah, tell us what you like about it.
Because I've used it. The few things I've ever done in like web development backend stuff is all PHP, so that's all I know.
Yeah, I mean it's super simple to get started. It's not like you have to, for a Node.js backend, you have to go npm install a billion things. You go to your node modules file and it's at least 1,000 folders long.
Yeah. It's also like a lot of gigabytes sometimes. I don't know. I feel like I created a package one day and it was like over a gigabyte. I don't even know how that is possible.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a whole other topic of the amount of npm and JavaScript modules out there. All right, so now that we have this installed, that is good to go. So we're going to go back to the react-leaflet page, and we're going to click leaflet setup. So this is a great library they have, React Leaflet, but I must say that the installation guidelines and setup could be a little bit more clear. But luckily, you have us to walk you through how to do it.
So for React Leaflet, is this created by one of the maintainers of Leaflet.js?
No, this is just someone in the community who really wanted to use Leaflet in a React-friendly way. So thank you for making that, whoever you are.
You don't have attribution for it?
Let's get some attribution. Paul Lecam. So he is the VP of engineering
based on the forks
for Mainframe. And he does a lot of open source. I mean, look at all those green squares. So impressive.
What a guy.
Thank you for good
library.
Paul.
Absolutely.
And this library, pretty popular, 2.4 thousand stars. So awesome. But so this is very important that you guys follow along here.
Thanks, Paul.
What you'll need to do, because the reason I know it's important is because I spent about an hour on this issue before, is on the Leaflet quick start page, which we linked to from the Leaflet setup on the React Leaflet page. You scroll down, you'll need to actually copy this CSS file, the whole link tag or attribute, whatever it's called. HTML tag. Nick, what's the actual word for that? The whole thing.
The node?
Yeah, the node. But I thought it's also, is it tag? Is that the word too?
You could say tag, but I mean it's XML, and I think in XML they call them nodes.
Yeah, I probably would have completely failed a front-end interviewer right now if I were doing it.
I don't know. I could be totally wrong.
Okay, Pond in chat says tag.
Tag, yeah, that's what I was wondering too. Do you know who
the one
is?
correcting me?
Well, thank you for the suggestion. But anyway, we're going to go back to our React project inside of public, and we'll want to go to index.html, and we're going to paste this into here. So we want to add the style sheet to our index.html. Definitely not the conventional React way of doing things, but sometimes when you got to make libraries work, you got to do some unconventional things. But now that we got that there, we could go back to the React Leaflet page. I seem to have lost it, but luckily I have it pasted right here. Back to getting started. We already did the installation, so we have that covered, and we'll go straight to examples. So from here on out, we'll just be copying and pasting some code. So the first thing we'll want to do is actually add the imports to our app.js. And we'll get rid of this logo because we're not going to use this. So we'll want to import a few things. The map, the tile layer, the marker, the pop-up.
Did you just paste that in from somewhere?
Yeah, should I go back to where I got it from? From React.
Yeah, I didn't catch that.
So on the React Leaflet page, we're on the examples.
Oh, all right, got it.
And I'm going to click on a simple marker with a pop-up.
Got it.
Okay.
So you can't necessarily just copy and paste this example because it's not working out of the box, but most of it will. So we're going to want to import the map, the tile layer, the marker, and pop-ups. These are just various Leaflet components that we'll be using. And then we'll also just go ahead and just kill everything we had in here for the boilerplate, just basic React spinning atom code. Cool. So we're going to want to create a map, and we're going to want to give it a couple props. The center, which we'll figure out in a sec. We're also going to want to give it the zoom, which we'll figure out in a sec.
Sure.
We're going to want to close this, and then we'll have something in the middle there too. We'll also want to do a tile layer. A tile layer is basically the different tiles that you could put in from the map. So we'll be using the here map tile API here. Right now it defaults to OSM. We could take a look at that in a sec, but we'll be changing that soon.
OSM being OpenStreetMap, right?
Correct.
OK Pond says, thanks for asking who I am, Dylan. I'm someone interested in here, newish dev. Well, thanks for joining us. Glad
awesome.
You're here.
Welcome to have you. I hope you enjoy the stream. Let us know if you have any questions.
Yeah, just always. I'm keeping an eye on chat. So if anybody has any questions or complain about Dylan's speed or to give Dylan props for how great he is, then
give me some React props.
Give some React props. I think he needs them.
Yeah.
You're doing good, Dylan. Keep it up. Proud of you.
Yep. I'm also watching chat.
Cool. So we need to assign it a center and a zoom. So zoom, let's do something like, I like level 16 here. So Nick, now I have a question for you.
That's pretty zoomed in, right?
Yeah, so the zoom levels work from 0 to 20, where 0 is very zoomed out. So 0 would be a view of the whole world, and 20 would be basically just a tree. Whatever you want. So Nick, now that we're talking about latitude and longitude, I got a question for you. Do you prefer latitude, longitude, or longitude, latitude?
Ooh, this is a running debate.
I prefer latitude, longitude.
See, I like that too because it works with the here services, but I'm also doing a lot of GeoJSON these days. And GeoJSON gets a little bit confusing because GeoJSON is longitude, latitude. So you end up having a lot of your code say like position of index 0, position index 1, or like position index 1, position index 0. You always got to flip those around. But anyway, I got another question for you. Nick, which city should we work with today?
I think we should work with Las Vegas.
You say Hong Kong? Okay, let's do that.
Yeah, all right.
Hong Kong coordinates.
Wait, what?
Oh, look, I already looked this up. So there's this nice website that says gives you the coordinates, latlong.net. And luckily, it comes in lat, long form. So we're just going to go and paste that into an array.
So I think didn't we debunk this whole thing in season 1 where you could actually use an object where it was lat and long?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Rather than using an array.
I'm pretty sure Leaflet also lets you do an object of.
Yeah. So I don't think it matters.
Like lat and long, something like that. But I prefer the array.
Well, I think they refer to it as LOG.
Yes, that's the confusing
or
part.
LON,
You don't know what it's going to be. Is it going to be
bad.
latitude? Is it going to be longitude? Is it going to be ling? Is it going to be lon?
Just numbers.
Yeah, do you prefer lon or ling?
I'll go with ling.
Ling. Okay, cool. So now we're going to go back to our React app. Okay, let's see. Cannot find. Oh, I think it might be because I started my server, not server, but the local server before I installed the packages. So we're going to go back to npm start. That's sometimes what this error gives you.
It doesn't hot reload for you?
It hot reloads, but sometimes if you install packages after it's already loading, if it's after executing, it'll give you some trouble.
Got it.
And the map's not going to pop up because there's one other required trick that's very confusing. You will not find this in the React Leaflet documentation, but what you'll need to do is actually go to your index.css.
Is this in your own Dylan documentation here?
It's in this
quick Dylan
webinar live stream documentation. Sorry.
Don't you dare call this a webinar, Dylan.
Sorry. I was channeling my inner Mithun there.
And we're gonna be publishing this code after the episode. So.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll do. I won't do it, but Dylan, with the help of Nick, will be doing a git push at the end of the episode. So all this code that we're we're developing right now will be available for you to install and tinker with yourself.
Yeah. So we initialized the map, and it should be showing up properly. If we're looking at our React debugging tools, we'll see the map popping up here. But like I was saying, there's another quick trick you got to do to actually make the map show up. In your CSS, I'm going to do index.css just because that's the top level CSS. I'm going to need to do a new class called leaflet-container, and that's where we're going to set the height and width of the map container.
User in chat called MethuneTD says, laughing my butt off.
Is that Methune?
Hashtag inner Methune. Got him.
Awesome. So now we are going to get the map container set up. But let's see what's going on.
Is it because you didn't enter any tokens yet, or?
No, because we're still defaulting to just whatever is showing up in OSM because that's what came here. But that's actually a good idea. Let's put in our here tile URL. But yeah, here the map showed up fine. But yeah, let's forget about the OpenStreetMap. We do love OpenStreetMap. They work with us on a lot of projects, especially with XYZ. But today we're going to be showing off our own tiles.
We got great tiles too.
We do have excellent tiles, and that's why we'll be using them. So if we go back to our developer portal, we're going to go to the documentation, and we're going to be clicking on map tile here. Go ahead and click rest. So what we'll be doing is actually pasting one of these URLs into our tile layer here. So you'll need to actually insert your app ID in code, which will be nice because we have this sweet feature in the developer portal, which you could actually automatically do that. So I'm going to be adding my freemium credentials here, and boom, I could just copy and paste that.
Wow.
But because this is actually defaulting to a day map, I have a special configuration. I'm just going to copy and paste from my notes right here.
Nick, you've never shown that before.
Yeah.
My notes.
So I have a question. Somebody asked me this the other day when it comes to our map tiles. So you'll see on this screen it says 2.base.maps, and then on the other screen it says 1.base.maps. What's the difference?
Oh.
Why do you have to put me on the spot like this, man?
Because that's what I do.
He does it to me, and I never have the answer. So at least he has.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not sure about that.
All right, it's something to think about. I never thought about it either. So I don't know the answer either.
Maybe there's just multiple endpoints in case one
could be
one's not where it's on. Maybe something similar to set up to like AWS regions. I don't know, where you have multiple different endpoints you could use. Because it's definitely not version. The version comes after map tile right here, 2.1.
Yeah.
So what we'll be doing is actually pasting. Where did my notes go? This URL. So we're gonna do const here tile URL, and we'll actually paste that right there. And what we'll do is just format this a little bit nicer so you could see it all in one line. So this URL is nice because it actually comes with these three parameters that are in squiggly brackets, the Z, X, and the Y. And what this stands for basically zoom, latitude, and longitude. Not exactly, but they're basically codes for that. And Leaflet, depending on where your map is centered, will actually call this API for the correct map tiles, which is nice because you're basically not loading the entire map all at once. Yep. And then I also have this parameter here, PPI, that's pixels per inch. That basically gives a little bit of a higher res map. And then we'll also need to add our here credentials. So I'm going to create an object for that.
Is the PPI, is that just for the render, or is that for like satellite imagery or anything?
That's just for the raster tiles that are of our map. I don't necessarily think it applies to satellite imagery.
Okay.
Because with these raster tiles, you're basically creating it from our own vector data.
Okay. I was going to say, as a vector,
side.
I didn't think that you need a
yeah, so
resolution for it.
that's a whole other discussion later on, vector tiles versus raster tiles. We're working with raster tiles here right now, basically because Leaflet only supports raster tiles.
Okay.
But we do actually have a vector tile API right now that's working with here XYZ. So if you did want to use a vector renderer, something like Tangram, HarpGL, MapboxGL, you could easily add in our data in vector format as well. That's probably a good topic for another episode, I think.
Sure.
So I'm going to go back to...
You're committing yourself to it?
Yeah, Dylan just signed up for another
I don't know
episode.
about that. I think I'll just have to train you
Sounds
guys.
like it.
So I need to grab my codes. So I'm going to go to the REST area, app ID, paste that into here, and then code, paste that into here. We've covered how to get your credentials in multiple episodes, so I don't think we need to do that right now.
Yeah,
and
everybody here should have an account by now.
Everybody where?
Here.
Like, yeah, I mean we're in season 2, man.
Yeah.
All right, so then I have this variable that's basically going to be calling the map tiles here tile URL, and I'll be pasting it into the tile URL JSX tag under the URL for the prop URL. So now when we go back, we're getting a lot of errors. Let's see what this is going on here. It looks like I think it's because I have these.
Looks like everything's broken.
I don't think I could actually have these breaks in the line here.
I think you can.
Can I?
Try it.
I
guess
it
you
was
can.
the line breaks, so.
I'm slinging wrong information.
Yeah, I know, man. Seriously. So we are looking at Hong Kong, the city requested by Nick. Nick, have you ever been to Hong Kong?
Never been to Hong Kong.
I've been to Vegas.
Yeah, been to Vegas.
So we're looking at Hong Kong. You know, Nick, not to just plug my own travels, but I was just there a couple of weeks ago.
Oh.
Yeah. And you see these ferry lines? I actually took this ferry line right here from Central Pier. It's pretty nice. So if you ever are in Hong Kong, I would recommend the ferry. I think it only costs like $1 USD if you convert it. And you get to see all the big buildings. So pretty nice.
Seems like a pretty cheap ferry fare.
Yeah,
Very
it's
fair.
good
$1.
for working it. So now that we have our map tiles up, we have this full interactive map of the world. Nick, you got another favorite city we should go zoom in on?
Let's go to Vancouver.
Yeah, let's check out Paris. This is Paris right here. I don't know exactly where the Eiffel Tower is here, but I'd love just to go zoom in on it. But anyway, as you can see, this is a nice full interactive map using Leaflet and our here data. We'll also fix the attribution because it's a little bit wrong. We're not using OpenStreetMap anymore. We'll just do here 2019. I don't remember the copyright symbol off the top of my head. Nick, do you know that? Is it like copy, something like...
Yeah, ampersand, copied, semicolon. Put an ampersand in front of it.
What's the ampersand?
The and symbol. No, that's an at symbol.
Yeah.
There you go.
Like, there we go. Yeah, we do have the copy here 2019 working. Awesome.
Nice.
So now that we have this map, wouldn't it be nice if we could throw in a marker? Don't you think that'd be a good idea?
Yeah. Real quick, Dylan, we're at about a half hour, a little over a half hour in, so just a time check for you, and we can continue. You gonna wrap up in time?
I mean, yeah, we have like 15 more minutes, right?
All right.
Actually, before we add a marker, let's do some change in the map style the map style. How about a night mode? All we have to do is go into the URL and do, instead of reduce day, we do reduce night. And now, since we have a dark map, Nick, you know what that means?
Dark editor.
Dark editor, of course. How do I do this?
Hey, I think I got the.
There we go.
I got the poll ready.
Yeah. See, now you know I'm really coding now that I turned into dark mode. I was such a novice with the light mode.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, I had no idea what I was doing. Cool. And we could also do other types of schemes. If you just want the normal map, we could do normal.day. So that's the normal. You can see actually the differentiation in colors on the roads. You can see which ones are highways and such. But really, everybody knows that reduce night is where it's at. So we're going to keep it there.
Do you want a poll, Dylan?
Yeah, let's do a poll. Let's do
dark,
favorite
light,
color
or normal?
scheme between dark, light, and normal.
All right, let's see if this works.
So while he's setting up the poll, let's start doing a marker. So I believe marker is just going to be something like marker position center. Let's see if that even is the right API.
And this is all baked into React Leaflet, right?
Yeah, so basically all these items that I'm creating here are already objects in Leaflet, but instead of just programmatically adding them like const new marker, blah, 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 you're just writing them in JSX, which is nice. And then basically all the options you'd be assigning them anyway are just the props now. So yeah, marker does use position. So now let's see where our marker showed up. Sweet, right in the middle.
All right.
We've added now a marker.
The poll is live. It's just a straw poll. It's either light, dark, or normal.
Yeah. So we've done some basic stuff, created a map, added a marker to it. You could also do stuff like add a polyline and such. But since we're doing React, why don't we do something like a reusable component? Because isn't that what React's all about?
Is it?
Yes.
I think part of it. The state management's also a good part of React, I'd say. But yeah, let's create a new component. So to do so, we're going to have our application very organized, and we're going to add in a new file. Map-container.js is what we just created, and we're going to need to import React, and then create the new class map-container extends react.component. I always just do a constructor, even though we probably have no need for one, but let's just do it anyway.
What does a constructor do?
Constructs things.
Oh, okay.
Just kidding. No, it's the constructor for the class. So it's the first thing that's called when you make the class. But honestly, I don't even think this needs to be a stateful component because I don't think we're going to be having any state within here. But oh well, it doesn't really matter. At the end, we'll rewrite it so it's a little bit more pretty. It makes more sense, actually, is a better way of putting it. And then once we've created the map container class, we're going to want to export it. Export default map container. We'll go back to our app.js and let's actually import that. Import map container from the map container file. Oh my god, I cannot see my keyboard with this microphone in the way. That's my excuse for my bad typing.
You've been doing a good job this entire time, Dylan, with this
Thank you,
cramped
thank
setup
you.
that we're in.
Thank you.
How's your temperature right now?
I'm pretty hot.
Okay, yeah, me too.
The code's pretty hot right now too.
With the door halfway open, but you know.
Yeah.
At the end of the episode, maybe you can turn off all of the fancy green screen and show your setup.
I don't even know how
like
I can
behind
even
the scenes. That'd be
make
funny.
it work. No behind the scenes. It's we're like the Wizard of Oz. You can't see what we're actually doing.
Got it.
That's funny. So what we'll need to do is actually put all of our code from app.js into map container, all the code that relates to the map. So go and copy and paste everything back there. We'll even go and copy and paste this as well. So we have this abstracted into its own class. And then what we'll do is get rid of all this right here and then just go with the map container. So let's see if this works. Perfect, it does. But honestly, it's not too useful if you're just putting this one map container here. You could actually start to customize it. So it probably makes more sense to actually have the center and zoom outside of the child container and actually into the parent container, component. So we'll actually throw that into render. And then what we could do is actually pass that as the prop. Center is center. And then zoom is zoom. Then we go back to our map container, and then we need to now set this to this.props.center and this.props.zoom. So basically this child component map container.js is actually being fed the information from the parent component, and we're passing down the props. So center is not defined. That's because I did not make this into this.props.center. And now everything works properly.
Nice.
But the whole point about reusable components is that you reuse them. Is that right, Nick?
Yeah, that's right. Peter challenged me on a previous episode of adding multiple maps to the screen.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny. So yeah, let's add a lot of maps to the screen. What do you say?
Yeah,
let's do it.
Let's do a ton.
The straw poll, 50% for dark.
So is that one dark, one not dark?
Two dark.
That's good. Well,
Four
we're
votes.
gonna keep dark. Great. So the first thing we want to do is just create a div that will be the parent div to basically keep this stuff all organized with our CSS. Let's just call it container for now. And we'll actually put the map container in here. And then we have to make a couple modifications first just to make sure everything's going to work out fine. In index.css, we're now going to make the leaflet container height 100% and the width 100%. Before we were doing 100 VH and VW, which is basically the viewport width and height, and that also makes the element to be positioned absolute. We now want to have that just be a normal position in there with the parent component, parent div. So we'll do container, and now this will be height 100 VH, width 100 VW. So just a quick little sanity check to make sure this is still working. Nice, and I'm getting the error to do class name instead of, class name instead of class. I always forget to do that. So now let's use the magic CSS grid to actually make this thing go crazy. So display grid for container. Nick, how many maps should we put on here?
Let's do 10.
Nice. Let's actually do a number that's has a square root of a whole number. So
let's do 100.
Let's do 9. We can do 100 in a second. 9's a little bit
Nick,
more
you've
normal.
had the best suggestions.
I know, right?
So we're going to use the grid shorthand property, which I think I will not screw up. So repeat 3, 1 fr, and then / repeat 3, 1 fr.
This is some
This is
witchcraft right here.
This is a CSS command here.
Yeah, so basically what we're doing is a 3x3 equal widths grid. So the equivalent of this is writing grid template columns 1fr, 1fr, 1fr. And then
I haven't even heard of that command.
Grid template
Right.
rows 1fr, 1fr, 1fr. So
This part of
basically,
like Flexbox.
no, this is CSS Grid. It's a different thing. Flexbox is another similar tool, but a little different. Basically, what grid-template-columns will do is create 3 columns. 1fr is just equal lengths. So if you wanted to have 4, you just add another 1fr. And then grid template rows does the same thing. So the shorthand property for grid template columns and grid template rows is actually to do just grid. And then repeat basically is just, think of it as a for loop for that. You're creating 3 FRs. So if I wanted 4 equal length columns, I would do 4, 1 FR, but instead I'm going to do 3. And then
Got
the slash lets you do columns and rows at the same time. Honestly, I don't know which comes first, columns or rows, but it doesn't matter since they're both equal in size.
OK Pond has given you props for your CSS shorthand there, Dylan.
Thank you.
Good job. We're getting a little bit of a weird resolution on your.
Oh yeah, is that showing up on the stream? All the weird things popping up everywhere.
It is,
Maybe,
yeah.
Maybe swap, switch to whatever you display. I mean, switch to the map. See if it just refreshes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It worked. It looks like it's just VS Code. Oh, there we go. It's back to working.
It's weird.
All right.
So our grid is working perfectly now. Because we did 3 rows and 3 columns, we see that this map is now just 1/3 of the size of the screen. So what we want to do is actually create 8 more of those to match it perfectly. So what's nice about React and JSX is that you could actually start using the map function to create multiple things. So there's this neat function I found out about. Let's go back to my notes. It's called array.fill. So basically what this does is create an empty array of the length that you want and also the values that you want. The reason I'm creating an array here is because I just want to be able to do the map function a certain amount of times, which will be 9. So I'm going to do array of 9 because we want length 9, and then the fill doesn't really matter. I'm then going to do map, and this is going to have 2 parameters here. We'll just do index. I'm sorry. We'll just do x and I, honestly. They don't need to be anything special. The first one is going to be the value in the array that we're mapping through. And the second one, I, will just be the index. And we need the index because React requires keys when you have iterations of things. So we're going to want to return the map container here. So I'm going to go and copy and paste the map container into this map function to return it. And we also should wrap it around in a div just to make sure our grid is working perfectly. I think we don't need this div, but it's probably just best to play it safe than sorry, so I don't have to go back and add it later on if it doesn't work the first time. And then in the div, this is where you need to put the key value. Honestly, I can't tell you guys too much about the key value. I just know that when React is rendering lists, it needs to be able to know which value is which. So that's why you usually provided a key here. Let's make this pretty formatting. And then when we go back to our page after I click save, we should have 9 different maps. Perfect. There we go. 9 different maps.
Wowee.
But let's make this a little bit nicer. I don't want to have those zoom buttons, so we'll go back to our map container. We'll do zoom control, set that to false. I think that should get rid of the zoom buttons. Yes. And technically, you're not supposed to remove the attribution, but since it's a little bit in our way here, we're going to do that. So we now do attribution control, and I believe it's the same thing, false. I'm just completely guessing. Yep, that works. So now we have much more cleaner maps with our markers. But let's make this a little bit more programmatically friendly, because right now the issue is I'm saying how many maps I want right here, number 9, but that also, then I also have to go write how many maps I want in my CSS. So I want to actually define this value in one place. So to do so,
what were you saying, Nick? Were you gonna?
No, I was going to say, why would you actually ever want to have that many maps on the screen? Is it because you can, or because you should?
It really depends on your situation. If you want to do, what's that one data visualization concept called when you have a lot of small things? Small multiples, I think. Like, here's an example of why you might want to do it. So let's just go to one of these demos I have.
Shameless plug.
Personal website real quick. And
yeah, let me just pop over to my LinkedIn. This is the site. It's an Iceland grid that I made. And this is nice because say if you want to compare and contrast how long it takes to drive somewhere in multiple cities, all with the same length, you could view them all at once. So honestly, not the best. I wouldn't say it's like that common of a use case, but obviously you might want to do multiple maps at once. I think another use case is like mini maps. Say if you have one large map that's zoomed in and it's say maybe like a navigation view where you're driving around, you might want to have maybe like a mini map on the top right of the screen that's much more zoomed out that shows you the context of where you are. I know a lot of journalists usually use that technique with infographics. You have the zoomed in area and then you have kind of the smaller mini map that shows what country it's in.
Do you want me to share that link for you, Dylan?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. dbabs.github.io/.
And then I think we're going to be doing something similar to this in episode number 2, right?
Yeah, man, for sure.
We're all just making this.
Yeah. But back to what we were working on. Basically, the problem that we had was we have to note how many maps we want in our CSS and our JavaScript. And everyone knows in programming, you don't want to have to manually set values twice, because what if you forget to change one, everything's then going to be breaking. So we're going to do some inline styles and actually apply it to this container class. So I'm going to do const style, and then we're going to actually paste that grid that we had before in our index.css. We removed it from this container here in the external style sheet and moved it to the inline style. And we actually got to put this in quotations. And then what we're going to do is actually pass it inside of this div. So we have class name, and then we're also going to do style, and then style right there as well. And let's go back, and we have an error. And that is because I have a semicolon within an object. Perfect. So now we have the maps working again, but we have to make a slight modification. Let's set a variable here for const num maps. Let's do, how many should we do now? 36, 6 in each row and column. We're going to set that variable num maps inside this array.fill. And let me know if this array.fill function is not too clear. I'd be happy to explain it again. And then we're going to want to actually go back into our grid, and then we're going to want to put the square root value of the number of maps for the number of columns and rows that we want, because a grid with 36 tiles is going to have 6 rows and 6 columns. So we're going to write within the string math.square root of num maps. So that's going to give us 6. And we're going to want to repeat that in the column thing as well. And I need to paste the squiggly right here. Now, if all works out well, ta-da, we now have 36 maps here.
Wow.
Nick, what's the next number of maps we should do?
I don't know. Maybe we have a little bit of time left. Maybe you want to add some stuff other than markers. Maybe a polyline.
Yeah, we could do that.
Just some basic map functionality in React.
So you don't want to do multiple maps, man? I thought that's what your thing was.
We could.
Actually, we're at 11:52. I think we should actually call it good.
Yeah,
now.
We can wrap it up.
If we go into polygons, it's just going to take a while. But basically, now you've learned how to do ridiculous amounts of maps and grids automatically. So it's a pretty nice trick.
Oh. What if you wanted more in a row than a column?
What you could do is just change this number in the CSS grid to be whatever you want. But this will break it because the number of maps is not going to align to the number of tiles we have.
Mm-hmm.
So look, now we just have this really weird long horizontal maps. Yeah. And what we also could do is actually add a border to these so you could actually see the maps a little bit better. I believe grid gap is nice. Do 10px. Grid gap basically adds a border in the insides of the grid. So it's a little bit different than a normal CSS border because the CSS border does the whole square. And as you can see with grid gap, you don't actually get a border on like the top, the right, the left, or the bottom tiles.
Wow. What a treat.
Can you vertical align in these grids?
What do you mean?
Like if you had something that's less than the height of the grid element, could you vertical align it to the middle?
Yeah, what you'd have to do is just you'd have to query that div inside.
So I've totally never heard of grids before. So I mean, looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean to vertical align,
changer.
what usually my go-to for the easiest way is just a flex box. So
yeah, flex is good too, but I don't know, grid seems useful
but the
as
thing
well.
is, if you're gonna vertically align within the grid, that would be the child container, not the parent.
Yeah.
So there's no need for a vertical align in the grid. I don't understand the question.
Got it. All right. It's all good. Don't worry about it.
Nice. Well, any other dying questions from the audience?
No, just more props on your CSS skills, Dylan.
Thank you. We can do a whole episode on transitions and animations. I'm into those.
So you actually didn't add a whole lot of code here. The React leaflet library did a lot of the heavy lifting, right?
I mean, that's the beauty of it. You're still integrating all the here services, all the quality data and such that we provide. But you're using this open source library that makes it pretty easy to port over your code.
I think you actually have less code than I did in Angular.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we could really, if we want to do a competition of getting less code, we could really drill this down to nothing if you want. But coding's not about how few lines you have.
No.
It's about writing the most complicated expressions no one could ever understand. That was sarcastic, everybody.
All right, Dylan. Good job. You did good. You want to take us to big head? We'll go to big head mode.
Let's go to big head mode.
All right, big head mode.
And we're back to our big selves. Thank you, everyone, so much for coming out. Thank you for chatting with us and watching and participating and asking us questions. It was a good episode. Dylan, I really appreciate you coming out. I know we really had to convince you, and I thank you for sitting in this hot room with me. Nick, great job.
Yeah.
Great questions. Proud of you, too.
All right. Dylan was the showrunner on this one.
Everybody in chat, thank you. Okay, Pond, great questions. Thank you for hanging out with us. I hope you come to our next episode. Speaking of, so this episode will stay live. It won't stay live. It'll stay as a past broadcast on Twitch for 2 weeks. But after 1 week, I will. This episode will be downloaded and posted to YouTube, and I'll have the links and everything updated on our channel page. So if you scroll down on our Twitch channel, you can see all the links to our YouTube, all the links to past episodes for other shows, and most of the dates and times for the rest of our episodes. But easiest way to remember is it's always on a Wednesday, and it's always at 11 a.m. Pacific time. And actually for the next, 2 months maybe, we're going to have an episode every Wednesday. So next week is starting off a new series of 4 episodes with AWS connections. Nic, do you want to talk a little bit about shameless plug those episodes?
Yeah, I'll shameless plug a little
AWS?
bit. So I'll be on the show with Michael Palermo again. He's in the moderator right now in the chat. And we're going to be doing some serverless stuff over the span of a few episodes, using serverless with here.
Yeah. So if you're interested in that, next week on 15th?
No, I think it's the 17th.
It's the 10th today, 7 days from today. Okay. On the 17th, same time at 11 a.m., you can watch Nic and Michael Palermo start with serverless with AWS. And I'll be in the background just kind of hanging out. Everybody in chat, we got lots of chatter going on. Triple high five. I don't know if that's gonna work.
I don't know, which way do I even high five?
Okay, so obviously Dylan's right over here.
So I go left.
I'm in the middle. Nic, are you ready? You ready? We did it.
Nice.
I count it. That works.
I don't know.
Roberto Dev, sorry you missed it. Yeah, so you can watch this episode once we jump off. It'll be available. And everything else. Any other shameless plugs? Dylan, you have any blog posts coming out you want to plug?
You should follow me on Twitter at dbabs. Always good content on there.
Okay.
Actually, I think
DBABBS. Those are all D and B.
Hold on. What is it? Oh my gosh.
Like dog, boy, apple, boy, Sam.
What?
I always have this issue when I'm talking to the phone. People ask my name. I say, it's Babs. B-A-B-B-S. Did you say P-A-D-B-S? No, B-A-B-B-S. So now you got to do boy, apple, boy, Sam.
Okay. I got you.
So I think you're going to be at OzCon next week, right?
Yeah, over in Portland. So
Doing
if
some
any guys in Portland,
Harp GL?
Yeah, we'll be talking 3D maps, also XYZ is well in there.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Nic?
No shameless plugs
Any
for
plugs
me.
for you? Okay.
Nic, what's your Twitter name?
It's Nic Raboy.
Okay.
Thank you everyone so much again for coming out. Make sure if you do want to catch our future episodes that you follow our channel. Make sure that bell is ringing so you can get push notifications. Emails.
Yeah, ring that bell, man.
Ring that bell. And we're also affiliates now on Twitch, so you have the opportunity to subscribe to us and donate with bits. And any revenue, anything that we make on this channel, which I'm not, really expecting, is all being donated to CARE, which is an international relief fund. So we'll have more links for that. I've said that for the past 3 episodes that we'll have more information on that. So in the next episode, I promise, we'll have more information on that. But thanks again, everybody. We're signing out, and we'll see you next time.
See you later.
Goodbye.